But one of the things that's a passion of mine is I've been studying self-improvement and studying this since I was 14 years old, just a couple of years ago. And one of the things that I realized is that self-improvement and motivation is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And the thing that kept confusing me is if this is, I mean, you go to any bookstore and there's just aisles and aisles and rows of book on self-improvement and motivation. And, you know, you can buy, I don't know, there's a book on every topic out there. But the one thing that I kept asking myself is, okay, this is really good information. There's people out there that really know what they're talking about and good information, but why isn't it working? Why aren't all of us millionaires or living the life of our dreams? And because it's all out there. Every information, everything that we need to do what we want is there. But what I discovered, and it's becoming more and more, now there's more and more books being published on this, is what you believe. You know, the law of attraction, The Secret. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but you know, you can manifest what it is that you want, which is true. But you can only manifest that if you believe it. If you don't believe that it's possible for you, then it won't happen. You're going to go, I'm the motivational junkie. I go buy another book. Let's go buy another book. This one's going to work this time. And one of the things that in all of my research and studies and reading is from the time we're born, when we're born, our brain is neutral. It doesn't know good, bad, right, wrong, and so we're the only thing that we are genetically born with is to eat, to fight, to run, and to reproduce. Everything else we're taught. And from the time 0 to 6, so we have no filters in our brain. So everything that's said to us goes in and it becomes a belief. So depending on what we're exposed to, that's where our beliefs come from. They don't necessarily have to be true. A lot of times we have beliefs that are not true at all. But because we're self-prophesizing beings, we'll find a reason to argue that, yeah, what I believe is true. There was a study in Australia that they did a research on 1,000, quote, normal families, whatever normal is. One of my favorite sayings is normal is just the setting on the dryer. You'll hear me say that a lot. But they did this research on 1,000 normal families to see what kind of input we're giving to our kids. Between even before 1, babies and 18, we receive over 148,000 negative inputs. Between 0 and 6, we're getting 28 negative messages a day at least. And that's when we start creating our beliefs, is during that, by the time we're 6, we already have a good portion of our beliefs instilled in us by what we've heard. So if we've been hearing negative stuff, and let's see if I can fast forward to see if any of you can relate to this. So can you imagine this cute little baby is going to decide how you react in the world, what you choose to do? Because that's what's happening in our world, because by all of our processing and our beliefs stops when we're 6. Or not stops, but because we can change that. So can you read some of those? What's wrong with you? You can't do anything right. Don't touch that. Stop running. You're so stupid. You're just like your father, or you're just like your mother. Why do they say that when it's a negative thing? Why can't you be more like your sister, your brother? You're so fat. You're ugly. You can't afford that. You really don't want that. You're not trying hard enough. Why is your room so messy? Stop interrupting. Shut up. On and on and on and on. That's what we hear. That's what we're exposed to all the time as a little kid. And you know, our parents do. I never want to blame any parents, because I've never met a parent yet that said, you know, I'm going to see what I can do today to mess up my kid. You know, they did the best they could with the knowledge that they had and the tools that they had and what they were exposed to, how they were taught. So, you know, it's a new day, a new year. And so it's a new you. So have you ever really thought about what it is you believe about yourself? You know, I know we have thoughts, and you know what, just because we think something, how many in here, raise your hand, just because you think something, you just think it's true? Because it popped into your head. Must be true. Yeah, not true. Not true. Just because we don't know where thoughts come from. And you know, if you think about it, they used to believe that the world was flat. Well, we now know, because they proved that the world is not flat. Science is proving that we can change that negative beliefs in our brain once we're aware of what it is we're thinking. The key is taking some time to really think about what it is that you're thinking. You know, I know this is hope and healing, and hopefully with a new year, everybody's feeling hopeful about your future and your life in the coming years. But I know that we all have an inner child that needs healing. I've never met anybody that doesn't have that inner child, that there's something that happened as a child that needs healing. What I'd like to invite you right now is to take a moment and close your eyes and think about that inner child. And if you can see, you know, a lot of us, you know, heard, oh, stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. Stop being such a baby. Don't be a sissy. You know, on and on. We weren't allowed to feel, or if our parents were in a bad mood and they didn't know what to do, that's the negative stuff we heard. And we needed to be comforted. We needed to be loved. We needed to be accepted. And I'd like you to take that moment and comfort that little child that's in there right now. And that it's okay, you're okay. You know, there's the expectations of what we believe, again, doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. How many are familiar with the radio show War of the Worlds? So do you know the story of that? So for those of you that don't know, back in, I think it was 1938, Orson Welles put on a show on the radio. And it was about invasion of Mars coming and invading us, right? But a lot of people tuned in after the radio show had started, and they didn't know it was the show. They thought, oh my God, this is really happening. We're being invaded. And panic went out throughout the country because they thought, wow, we're being invaded. So, yeah, it's crazy, just crazy. So again, just because when we believe something, they all believed that. Then they found out, oh, that's not true, so they didn't believe it anymore. The same is true with our life, and what Jeff was saying about, you know, if you have a passion for cooking, get involved with this program. You know, we're all here, we were born with a passion inside of us. And so many times, because of all the negativity that we're exposed to growing up, we lose our passion, we lose our dream. It's still there. It's still there for every single one of us in this room and outside this room. But it's up to us to be aware of what it is we're thinking, what it is we believe, and go back to that inner child and get in touch with that. Get in touch with that inner child that you have. Comfort it, love it, and ask it, what is it that, what did I bury? What do I want to come out and have the life? Because I personally believe that we're all born magnificent, and we're all born with a 24 karat gold brilliance in us that we just need to sometimes wipe off the dust. And I think that's what all of you are doing. That's what we're all doing. And it's important that we're all here to help each other do that. Because we all have a different dream. My dream's different than your dream. Your dream's different than his dream.
But we can all dream.
We can all dream, yeah. I think it was Einstein said, logic will take you from point A to point B, but imagination will take you anywhere. So we need to use, and if you think about it, every single thing in this room was created by somebody imagining. Somebody imagined making this table. Somebody imagined making a big table to put, you know, How many chairs? 8 chairs on it. Somebody imagined the light bulb. Somebody imagined the sprinkler system, the television. So imagination. Let your imagination go. Play what if. I have a cute, I was trying to find the slide to put up here because imagination. I just recently got married to this handsome man back here. And he introduced me to a gentleman that actually I went to school with, his sister, that is invented and is developing, and it will soon be flying, a flying sports car. You will be seeing and hearing about this next year for sure, but if you get online and Google Switchblade, you will, it's a true thing, a flying sports car. The wings fold in underneath the hood of the car. You can't just, you have to have a pilot's license. So there's, go get your pilot's license. And it's a 2-seater, but it's imagination. And it was interesting. I was talking with a mutual friend that knew Sam in the 3rd grade, and he goes, I remember him in the 3rd grade talking about building a flying car. Here he is doing that. So, use your imagination. Use your imagination. One of the things that, we get stuck sometimes when we get that negative self-talk, the monkey mind, and it is up to us to stop and think about what we're thinking, and is that serving us? And if it's not helping you move forward in your life, then I'm going to have you guys do a little exercise today, a couple things, but one of the things is that our beliefs become from choices that we made and behaviors. And if you don't know what your beliefs are, stop and look at what your habits are. Your habits will show you what you believe about yourself. And a lot of times if it's we might be trying to, I was listening to she's a world famous, but she's won the surfing, international surfing for a woman. She's 3-time winner, and she was talking about, again, belief, and saying that, she always had a belief that she was fat. And she said no matter how hard she trained and she worked out and she did, and then she would go win this great, award and get a big medal and everything. And what'd she do? She'd go reward herself with cheesecake or apple pie or whatever else that was not good, because we're self-prophesizing. If we believe whatever we believe, we're going to go prove that, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm whatever. We're going to do whatever it is. I know I grew up with many different families, and I was surrounded by a lot of uncles. And what my negative talk was from all my uncles is that I was fat, I was stupid, I was ugly. I was fat, I was stupid, I was ugly. And because I didn't live with my mom and dad, I grew up believing that I was unwanted or unloved. It took me till 60-something to figure out that wasn't true. They made choices that for them at the time was the right thing. And but it's taken years. For me it's a daily practice. I still have to do the self-talk and the I don't buy as many books as I used to, because now I realize that it's the belief system, and that's what my encouragement is for all of you, is to work on what it is you believe about yourself, and then work on changing what it is you believe. And it's possible. Some of us that are older might take longer because we're older and those neural pathways in our brain are deeper. So it takes a little bit more effort and time to erase those and make new ones. But it's possible. It is very, very possible. Starting the next chapter of your life, it's really hard if you're stuck in the past one. One of the things that I realized, the only thing that ever mattered to me, that I ever wanted to be, was a mom. I have 2 sons that I love dearly, but when my husband, the father of my children, and I divorced, my sons, it severed my relationship with my sons. For 15 years I've been hiding. It was too painful for me to go out in public, and people, when you meet somebody and they say, oh, so how are you? What do you do? Are you married? Do you have kids? Blah, blah, blah. There's the regular getting to know somebody. I couldn't do it, because every time I'd have to talk about my kids, I couldn't do it. when I started on my path of doing what I do now, and I don't know what you want to call it, coach, mentor, talk, speaker, human being, I got really excited about it because I thought for the first time in my life I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I was being called to do something. And I studied, I trained, I spent a fortune on classes and training, and when I got right down to it, my belief, who are you kidding? Who's going to listen to you? Who's going to want to believe you? You're a nothing, you're a nobody, you're a failure. You failed at the one thing you wanted to be as a mother. Who's going to listen to you? Monkey mind, monkey mind, monkey mind. And a year ago, I was in a really dark place. I was suicidal. I was done. I was crying, begging God, please let me die. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And all of a sudden, I can tell you, I had never been in such a deep, dark place. There was this little, teeny whisper. It was so faint, and this little, teeny, tiny light that said to me, "You are not alone. You are not alone." And the message to me was, there are other people out there that need to know they're not alone. And that was the turning point for me, that I needed to start doing the work on myself. I needed to change my belief. I needed to change if I could help one person know that they are not alone, that we are, no matter what we're struggling with, that we're not alone. And that's my message to you, is you are not alone. And we're all here to help each other and to encourage one another. And we're all different. You know, we all have our different wants and our different needs, but the thing is that you're not alone. And so I literally heard the voice, and I thought, okay, I've really gone crazy this time. And but it changed my life. It changed my life. And so one of the things, experiencing pain is part of the human experience. Some of us experience more pain than others. Some of us deal with it differently, but we all experience pain. And I think it is our job as human beings to turn it around and ask, okay, what is it here to teach me? Because I believe that everything that comes into our life is there for a lesson. And sometimes it's really a painful lesson. But if we can step outside of ourselves and analyze it, look at it. No right or wrong, good or bad, just look at it for what it is. I think last month I talked about Loving What Is, the Byron Katie book on the work. I still recommend, if you have access to a computer, go to, it's called The Work, Byron Katie's The Work. And it is so, I won't say it's easy, but it's very helpful, and it works. The work works. So the good thing about when things fall apart in our life is that we get to have the choice of what we're going to pick up, and keep to move forward. Whether it's people in our lives, it's material things, whatever it is, we all have the choice of what we want to hang on to move forward. And if it hasn't been serving you, if it hasn't been helping you have the life you want, then it's your turn to let it go. Because you're designed and you're meant to live a 24-karat gold life. You were born that way. Okay, because we're getting close to time. So how do we change this? How do we change? We talked last month on goals about affirmations. Is the same thing true with changing your beliefs? What you need to do first is identify what it is what the negative belief you have about yourself. I put some 3x5 cards out that what I'd like you to do is to make how do I do this? We want to do write it first. I want you to write down what it is that you want to believe about yourself. What's going to change? What if you change just one belief about yourself? How would that impact your life and what you're doing for yourself to move forward? And you don't have to do that right now if you want to do it later, but I really encourage you to write down a belief, and use I am, I can, I will. But I am. Use the present, not that I will, or I will in the future, I would like to, I am. And because that's going to start that neural pathway in there. The other thing I suggest you do is, does everybody here have a phone? A cell phone? I think on all the phones there's like a little recording thing. You can record a message on there. Record what it is that you want to tell yourself. And every day when you have a daily habit, if it's brushing your teeth, or if it's having that first cup of coffee, or when you come in the afternoon, if it's having a cup of coffee, whatever you do habitually on a daily basis, play that back for yourself every day. And I can tell you, the first 10 days, monkey mind is going to laugh at you and say, who are you kidding? You think you're going to do that? Yeah, right. The monkey mind doesn't like change. None of us like change. But when you start, the first 10 days, monkey mind's going to be really loud. After 10 days, the next up to 20 days, you're going to start noticing a change. And because now you're going to have memorized what it was you read and what you said to yourself. You're going to start now repeating it out loud along with the audio of your recording. After 30 days, you're going to notice inside and out changes that are going to happen in your life. Every day for 30 days. The other thing I want you to do is find something, a book, or there's now books on tape, but for 30 minutes a day, whether you do it in the morning or at night, feed your brain. Feed your brain something positive, something that's going to help you grow, something that's going to stretch you. And the more you do that, the faster all of this other is going to happen, the affirmations. Again, I think we've all heard garbage in, garbage out. Well, good stuff in, good stuff out. So the more good stuff you put in our brain, and if you start to be conscious and be aware of what you're thinking, when you start to have that monkey mind and that chatter, I mean, like I said, I still do this every day. I get, coming here to speak with you, it's like, they don't want to listen to you. So, I mean, it's a constant effort, as long as we're here, to work on that negative beliefs that we have about ourselves. And our brain likes to keep us down here, and so the other thing I suggest is you find a mentor or you find a coach, not a friend, because what happens with a friend, you might be really good for each other for a short time, and then one day one of you is going to say, oh, I don't feel like doing this today, let's go get a cup of coffee, or let's go to the movies, or let's go do anything but what we're supposed to be. You need somebody that's going to hold you accountable and somebody that's going to give you good feedback. So and I know this is part of what Hope and Healing is, and I know that you have a good support system here that can kick you in the butt when you need to get kicked in the butt, can give you an attaboy or attagirl when you're on the right track, and be easy with yourself. Think of yourself as that little child, because we still have that little child in us that needs to be encouraged and needs to be nurtured, and that's going to be with us till the day we die. So it's our job, it's our responsibility to be loving to ourselves and be honest with ourselves. We're human, and we make mistakes, and we sometimes don't make good choices. That's okay. It's like, okay, that wasn't such a good idea. Next. But be gentle and kind with yourself. You can change your story, and our neural pathways, like I said, the more we develop those, but it's also our brain and our heart, everything is a muscle, and it has a memory. The other thing I'd like you to consider doing is to make a mental mind movie of you and your life and what it is you want it to look like. Take the time when you can close your eyes. Is easy? Good. So,
especially if that's how you see your life in the past, in flashes or like little.
Absolutely.
So that's got to be easy.
And you can rewrite it. If you have some bumps along the way that's like,
well,
you can write.
As long as you know you're going somewhere productive.
Yes.
And it's something that it's easy to look at it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's sometimes harder to make the positive one because we as humans tend to focus on the negative. And that's where we create more negative stuff.
Past impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep it real, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, who would have thought a flying sports car?
Well, a lot of people, but who's got the gumption to get up and do it?
That's right.
It's all, it's part of the gumption. Gumption, you have to get up there.
Isn't it too good for my mistake?
Hopefully.
Yeah, but that's just
Hopefully.
That's all life is.
It is. It is. It's hopefully, we do learn. Hopefully, we learn from our mistakes. But a lot of times, if we focus on that, we keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
More embarrassing because of many.
So we need to focus on. Okay, I made that mistake. What? Focus on if you had chosen a different reaction to, and how that would, and then focus on that. Focus on the outcome that you want, not on the one that you had. Because that's what the law of attraction and the secret, that's all based on what you focus on is what you bring into your life. So once you get the belief system, I believe that I can make a difference. I get up every day and say I can make a difference. And or I can wake up in the morning and say, oh, who am I kidding? I'm going back to bed. What I brought, I'm gonna just leave this thing over here. I brought, and you can take one or not, but there are little rocks that just say believe on them. You can carry it in your pocket. I tried to make some small enough for the men. The key word for when you start monkey mind, and I can't do this, I can't do that. You're gonna insert the word yet. I can't do that yet. So what's your word? What's your word? Yet. What's your word?
Yet.
What's your word? Yet.
Never.
What's your word? Yet.
Never.
Yet.
You can do it.
Can do it. All right. Thank you all, and I wish you the happiest of years, 2018, and lots of hope. This is a very hopeful year, and I hope you invite me back, and we'll find something else to share with you.
Thank you.